Hey guys, welcome back to the Redneck Garage YouTube channel. Today we're going to be tearing down the engine in this CFMOTO CForce 600 because it had a very fun time in a mud hole and it's not snorkeled, and they accidentally went down. And when they went down, it pulled mud into the engine. Now luckily, when they noticed that they were going down like a ship, they shut the engine off. That is the smartest thing that anybody could do. And these guys are not your average rider. These guys are huge riders. They are, might as well say, professional riders, because they know how to ride. They know what they're doing. And they know that when you go down, when ship goes down, you got to shut that engine off. Otherwise, you could hydrolock it, bend rods and stuff like that. Now, this thing cranks over. We did not here at Redneck Garage crank it over, but they did. They didn't know that they got mud up into the head, and they cleaned out the air box and tried to start it. It wouldn't start, and then they looked and there's mud down in where the valves are. So that mud went through the filter, so they didn't see any big huge chunks, but there's definitely brown water in there. So we're gonna pull the top end of this thing apart. This is how I received it. This is how I received it from these guys. And they pulled all the plastics off for me so they could wash it real good before they brought it. They brought it from a few states away. I want to thank them for bringing it to me and letting me do a video on this to show everybody what happens if you get water in your engine. And he said he loves this machine. He has no hatred towards it whatsoever. It ain't the machine's fault at all. Definitely the drivers just playing around, and they knew that they shouldn't have been, but they took that risk, and this is what happens here. But he can't wait for me to tear it down and get it back going again. So they brought it to me. I have no plastics whatsoever. They're going to leave the plastics off because they have plans on having the frame powder coated and whatnot. Once I get it running, we got to get it running. Then they're going to pick it up and have the frame. They're going to tear it all down, have the frame powder coated. But without further ado, we got to get this gas tank up off of here. And got a couple of hoses. They just have these push clamps, these pinch clamps. Super easy. And then I want to show you guys how to get this fuel line off of here, and then we're going to pull the fuel tank up off of here and start working on this puppy. So we're going to want to get a flathead screwdriver here. And there's a clip right here. We're just going to want to push this out and then wiggle it. Then this right here just will come right out. Now this can be under pressure. This one is not. That can be under pressure, and that can spray you. Now you can put your clip back in, and well, it looks like it might come apart there. It ain't gonna clip. Let's see if it'll clip onto here. That way we can not lose it. Well, I'll put some tape around that clip so it'll stay. All right, now next thing you're going to want to do is take your flathead screwdriver, which you can use your fingernails. I prefer a screwdriver because it helps tremendously. Pop this, there we go, right up out of there just like so. Your fingernails will get hurt. Now we have an 8mm bolt holding on this, but we can just pull that right up like so. Just lay it out of your way. Now move over here. We got a plug over here. Okay, maybe that plug runs down here. Okay, it does. It runs down here. My bad, in the wrong spot. All right, fuel tank should be all unplugged. Let's get a 10mm socket and start zipping this puppy off. Got our 10mm socket. Zip out these bolts like so. There we go. Guys, I highly recommend a tray to put your bolts in. Now this fuel tank should lift right off here. Ooh, she got fuel in it. Now they didn't go deep enough to worry about water in the fuel. So we're not worried about that. We will check it out, but I don't think they did. Now guys, we can get right in here to the top of the engine, but we're gonna have to drain the coolant. That's gonna be the next step. We're gonna drain the coolant. They already drained the engine oil and put new in because they wanted to make sure there wasn't water in there, and water did not get down in the bottom of the engine at all, so that's definitely a plus side of things. However, we got to drain the coolant, and before we go to start it, we will change the oil again, just to be on the safe side. Now guys, what I like to do to drain the coolant, because we need to drain the coolant from the engine, and what we're going to do is we're actually going to do a full coolant flush on this, get rid of the factory coolant, because I'm not a fan, but I like to drain it from this hose because it drains the fastest. Looks like we're going to need a new clamp up here too. This one's pretty rusty already, so. But yeah, anytime you do head work, you got to drain the coolant, because if not, you will have a mess. Now we're just going to let her drain. Make as little as a mess as possible. There we go. She's all drained out. Now one thing we can do, open up the radiator cap. Make sure she all comes out. Now if you want it to stop dripping, because now we got pretty much everything we need out of there, we're gonna just shove that hose back on there for right now. That way it stops dripping, and if you need to, you can get this pan out of your way. Walmart, guys. Walmart got these pans for 11 bucks. Now guys, the next thing we're gonna wanna do is get us a 12mm wrench, and we're going to pull off this stock exhaust header. Now they do have an RJWC slip-on, but it's not a full exhaust, so you still have the stock header, but either way, it has to come off. It's real easy to do. Bolts look like that on the head. Once you get them loose, they'll come off with your finger. Now we want to get this O2 sensor unhooked and out of the way. So we just undo this right here. And then there's a clip right in here, full of mud probably. Hopefully we can get it unplugged. Once they get full of mud, they do not like to unplug, which is fine. We'll just get our tool and undo that. We're gonna get our O2 sensor socket tool, put it down on there. We're just gonna pull it out like so. Super easy. You could get a wrench on there, crescent wrench. I recommend the tool. And just pull it off like that. You have plenty of wire, so don't worry about twisting it or anything like that. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this bolt out. There we go. It's like so. Got these two 10mm bolts. Look at all that mud in there. We're gonna have ourselves a mess, boys. Pull these two bolts out. There we go. And she'll come right off. Just like so. Now there should be a donut gasket. Oh, there's mud. Oh wow. It got mud. Oh wow, that's mud, guys. It's smooth mud, which is good. There's no rocks in it. That's good. That means it probably didn't damage anything. And we're probably gonna have to get a new gasket. Exhaust gasket. There may not be one. There's got to be one. Didn't fall out. We'll find out on the diagram. All right, guys, I want to say this now. I just took the exhaust off. If that clip is not in here, I'm sorry, my camera, I don't know, something happened with it. It said it repair failed on the file. I don't know. Hoping that it's there or most of it or something. I don't know. Moving forward, the exhaust was easy. It was an aftermarket exhaust, so it had two 10mm bolts, two 10mm bolts, and a 15mm bolt there. So let's get the whole intake set up out of here. We're going to go ahead and unplug the injector. And we're going to get that injector out of there. Now this injector, it'll just wiggle wobble right out. Just work at it. There we go. Ooh. Ooh, she plugged with mud. I don't know if we can clean that injector or not. She plugged with mud, guys. This is going to be a job. So we'll lay that aside. Put these bolts back. Now we're going to want to get this throttle body off of here. Phillips screwdriver. All right, so there's that. Oof, oof, she's bad. She's bad. Get these unplugged here. There we go. Poke through there. There we go, getting the throttle cable off. 10mm. There we go, pull that out. There, we got the throttle cable off real easy. Slide that aside. Now we got the other hose off there. We're gonna have to replace that hose. Not a big deal, we'll find one. I think his throttle body's trashed. He's gonna need a new throttle body. We could clean that, but it's too bad. It's too gunked up. Too bad. We'll never get it out of the orifices and all that, so he needs a throttle body. Let's pull this coolant hose off. There we go. All right, guys, time to pull the valve cover. I keep having camera overheating issues. Freaking GoPro. Time for me to try and upgrade to a new camera. Now to help pry it loose, grab a flathead screwdriver and just work it easy. Do not gouge the aluminum. All right, there we are, fellas. Try and keep that dirt from going down in there. Wow. She's clean. Now what we need to do is mark this. We need to get the piston top dead center and mark this. So let's work on that. We was gonna turn the motor over to put it in time, and it's locked up. So we're just gonna pull it apart and see if it's savable. We're gonna find out. It may or may not be, I don't know. Pull out the chain tensioner. You need to get new ones. Shouldn't reuse them. But in this case, I don't know what we're gonna do yet. All right, so this chain should be pretty loose. All right, guys, that chain just pops right off. My camera, it's really making me mad out here. It overheated again. So that chain, once we got that tensioner out of there, that chain just, it wiggles right off of there. Now we're gonna get this head out of here. Unplug that spark and plug. And we're going to get a socket. Wow, those aren't that tight. All right, let's get this last head bolt loose. Yeah, and normally the chain, we would want to tie that up, but she fell down in there. Not a big deal. We can dig it out once we get this head off. Not a big deal at all. That's if this engine's savable. Now these head bolts can be kind of tricky. You want to make sure same length. All right, they're the same length so far. Now that one, there we go. Now we got two smaller bolts right down in here. Gonna want to get those out. Gonna pull those long suckers out of there. Yee. Now the head should come right off. Ooh, she's trashed. Oof. Ooh. Yep. That head is junk. We could probably, we'll talk about it in a minute. Set this head aside. Yep, piston's locked up in there. Show you guys a quick way to sometimes break a piston loose. She's going too. All right, before we get too carried away. Oh no, there's mud down inside the engine. Wet mud. That engine is, oh, the motor's trashed, guys. Can you guys see down in there? There's a lot of mud down in there. A lot of mud down in there. The rod. Man, in order to save this motor, we'd have to rip it apart. I have to see what he wants to do. Probably cheaper to get a drop in. Honestly. Probably cheaper to get a drop in. Man. As for the valves, there's two stuck open and the cam is in a neutral position. There's two stuck open. The seats are rusted and pitted pretty good. Oh. Yeah, I mean, we could save this head too, but you're talking all the money it would take to save the head, cut new seats, buy new valves, drop in new valves, rip apart the block, buy a new jug, new piston. At this point, I would say put a new crank in it because of the bearings. It just needs a drop-in engine is what it needs. So I better get on the horn. Well, guys, I'm going to give him a call and see what he wants to do. If he wants me to rip apart that block, I will. But at this point, I think it's more cost effective to just buy a brand new motor and put it in there and use this one as spare parts or whatever. Because he'll have clutches. The clutches are, I got to get those apart yet to see if they're savable. There's still a bunch of mud on them. I'm sure they are. A lot of times they'll clean right up. But I was really looking forward to rebuilding this engine too. And we may still. I'll have to call him and see what he wants to do. Oh, I was hoping that we'd get in there, there'd be a little bit of water in the piston, we could clean it out, maybe even hone it out, put a new, clean out the head, put new gaskets on and send her home, but that's just not the case here. See what happens when you swamp your bikes, man. I know it's all in fun, but get snorkeled. So all right, guys, I want to thank you for tuning into this long video, and stay tuned for part 2, because I don't know what we'll be doing to this thing yet. And have a good day, guys. I want to thank you for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. Leave me a comment down below, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace out, and God bless.